Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. We have this equation 8 to the power of x minus 2 to the power of x divided by 6 to the x minus 3 to the x equals 0, and we need to find the value of x. So let's start by breaking down 8 and 6 in here, since we have 2 and 3 in the other side, and we have to the power of 3 to the power of x minus 2 to the x, and in the denominator we have 6, which is 2 times 3 to the x minus 3 to the x equals 2. And we have some laws of exponent. If we have a to the power of m to the n, this will be equal to a to the m times n. And we know if we have ab to the power of m, this will be equal to a to the m times b to the m. So we're going to use this one for the first expression, and second one for what we have in the denominator, which we break down 6 to 2 times 3. So if that's the case, we will have 2 to the power of 3 times x, which is 3x minus 2x, divided by 2 to the x times 3 to the x minus 3 to the x. This will be equal to 2. And if we look at this, we'll see that from the first expression we can factor 2 to the x, and if that's the case, we'll have 2 to the power of 2x minus 1, and in the denominator we have 3x that we can factor, and we'll have 2 to the x minus 1 equals to 2, which is what we have on the other side. And looking at this, we'll see that this is going to remind us to our formula: a squared minus b squared is equal to a minus b times a plus b, and we're going to use that one in here. So we'll have 2 to the x, and we also know that 2 to the power 2x is equal to 2 to the x. So if that's the case, we will have 2 to the x minus 1 times 2 to the x plus 1, and what we have in the denominator is 3 to the x times 2 to the x minus 1. This will be equal to 2. And from the numerator and denominator we can cancel out these two, and we will have one condition for this. And since we have a ratio, 2 to the power of x minus 1 cannot be 0, which means 2 to the x cannot be 1, and if x is 0, it will satisfy this condition for us. So since we have a ratio, our x cannot be 0. So that way we can cancel out 2 to the x plus 2 to the x minus 1 from the numerator and denominator. And what we are left off is 2 to the x times 2 to the x plus 1. And we have 3 to the x equals to 2. And if we want to simplify this ratio, we have this multiplied to this equal to these two. So we have 2 to the x times 2 to the x plus 1 equals to 2 times 3 to the x. And let's divide the two sides by 2. What we're going to get, we will get 2 to the x minus 1 times 2 to the x plus 1, and this will be equal to 3 to the x. And looking at this, let's go over some conditions. If we have our x greater or equal to 2, we see that the first expression that we have, since our x is greater or equal to 2, this can be 2, it can be 4, it can be 2 to the power of 3, 8, and dot dot dot, which means we have an even number in here. And this will be starting from 2 will be 5, 2 to the power of 3 is 8 plus 1, 9, and the rest will be an odd number. And when we have an odd number times an even number, this means we will have even expression on the left, and we know 3 to the power of x, so we'll have 9, we'll have 27, we'll have 81, and the rest will be odd number. That means our x cannot be greater or equal to 2. Let's go over another condition, or let's consider our x is 1 And if that's the case, so what we get from the first one, we have 2 to the power of x minus 1, which is 2 to the 1 minus 1 times 2 to the 1 plus 1. And on the other side of the equation, we have 3 to the 1. This will be 3. This will be 0, 1. And 1 times 3 is 3. And that shows x equal to 1 is one of our answers. So we also showed that x cannot be 0. So we covered so far 0, 1, and greater than 2, and the range that we have for x. We know our x belong to n or natural numbers. So what's left for us is our x will be less than 0, or we can show our x a negative natural number, and that's the last condition that we need to satisfy. So in here we know n is 1, 2, 3, and etc. So if that's the case, let's just plug in this of our x to the equation that we found. So we had 2 to the power of x minus 1 times 2 to the x plus 1 equals to 3 to the x. So we have 2 to the minus n minus 1 times 2 to the minus n plus 1. So we know that when we have a ratio, let's call it x to the minus n, this will be equal to, we just need to have that positive on the denominator. We'll do the same thing in here, so we'll have 1 over 2 to the n plus 1, since this will be, if we factor the negative sign, when it goes to the denominator it will be positive. And here we will have 1 to the n, 1 over 2 to the n plus 1, and we will have 1 over 3 to the n. And if we want to have the same denominator for this expression, we'll have 2 to the n, so 2 to the n plus 1 times equals to 3 to the n. And if you multiply these two, we'll have 2 to the n plus 1, and in the denominator we'll have 2 to the 2n plus 1. This will be equal to 1 to the 3n. So what we have in here, again, we'll do the same thing. We'll multiply these two. That will be equal to the multiplication of the other two. So we have 3 to the n times 2 to the n plus 1 equal to 2 to the 2n plus 1. And let's see what we have in here. So we know 2 to the n is always even number, and any even number plus 1 will be odd, so this will be an odd number. 3 to the n, we had it before, this is definitely an odd number, and the multiplication of any odd number will be an odd number. And what we have in the other side is 2 to the 2n plus 1, and we know this is an even number forever. So that shows that this equation is not going to happen, and n cannot be equal or greater than 1, which is our condition. So that shows that we cannot get any answer from this condition 2, which was if we have a negative number. So all in all, the only answer that we have in here would be x equal 1, and that would be all for this question. You guys take care, and I'll see you in the next video.